From the land of the midnight sun, where grit meets pure glamour, we are the Midnight Sun Sisters. Hi, everybody. I'm Kaylee Perot with Midnight Sun Sisters, and I'm here with Shaina, and she is a child car seat safety technician. And I'm so glad to have you here today, Shaina, and so cool to meet you because I've been following you on Facebook, and it's been really interesting to watch what you post because it's things that I'm like, what? I never knew this, like, and stuff like that. So I'm really glad to be spending some time with you, maybe go through some of those things that I've seen that you post online. So, first off, I like to start with an essential question that most people in Alaska get, whether it's from a local or somebody from visiting from out of state. Like, how did you get to Alaska?
So I came to Alaska with the military originally. My husband was military, so we came up here. We knew we were likely going to come up here eventually just because with this job field, and that's always been a dream of mine. I've been wanting to come up here since I was a little kid, so.
Oh, awesome. So, how long have you been in Alaska and where are you from?
I'm from the Ozarks, and we came up here in the summer of 2019, so it was like right around the time of the wildfires.
Oh, man. Yeah, Swan Lake down in the Kenai. And yeah, there was a lot of wildfires that year, and it got up to
Yeah.
90 degrees, and fans were selling out of the stores, which is nuts. But so that hardly ever happens. But I want to get to what you do for a living. Like, you have such passion and enthusiasm. I can tell by how often you post a day about child safety in the vehicle. I even sent you an article from back in 2016.
Yeah.
Like, there was an accident where a drunk driver had hit another car and there was a baby in there, and the baby got ejected from the car and it was still in the car seat. And I'm
Yeah.
like, the knowing the safety aspects of a car seat and doing it properly and all of that stuff, like, it's so important. I get nervous about it.
Yeah.
Like, when I had my firstborn, he's 2.5. Like, I was nervous to go out. Like, I was anxious. Like, what if I do something wrong? All these questions. Like, you start second guessing yourself too. Like,
Definitely.
you want as much safety as possible. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't prevent things from happening, but you can do the best on your part. So
Absolutely.
I want to get to, what does a typical day look like for you, and what does a car seat check look like?
So yes, I don't really have a typical day. It depends on what's going on. Around usually the Target trade-in events or Prime Days, usually the weeks around that, parents are buying lots of car seats, so I will be doing lots of personalized car seat recommendations just those weeks. Otherwise, it's just on demand. Sometimes I'm doing lots of car seat checks a week. Sometimes I'm just doing seat recommendations or configurations. It just depends on what's going on, but
Okay.
outside of that, I'm doing, working on my books or I am doing making graphics,
Okay.
just general things.
That's well, it's needed. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish that I had known about your Facebook page, when I had my firstborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been so helpful, but I'm glad I know now and that I got in contact with you. So, okay. And so, what does an appointment look like with you? Like, does it just depend on what the client is needing at that time?
So usually I will ask some questions beforehand, like what's the vehicle, what's the car seat, just to prepare so I can see, like, is there a possibility for a recall? If so, like, I will go over that with them, what they need to do. If they brought forward a concern, I will look at that first to try and handle it. But otherwise, I have some paperwork. They fill out the top portion of it. And while they're doing that, I'm just like looking for anything that I maybe need to talk to them about. Like, is this too loose of an install, or if I see anything concerning whatsoever. Other than that, I brought over a checklist. So I go through, I look at like how it was installed. I mark the model number, manufacturing date, everything. I look over, like, ask them the questions if the history was known, if it's in a crash, does it have its labels, what's correct, what's incorrect. I take tons of notes. And we go over things like aftermarket products, safety in and outside of the vehicle with the car seat, like not letting
Wow.
them sleep in it, not wearing coats in the car seat. And then after that, I give them pamphlet, just goes over the basics. So even if they're, newborn, it tells them what to do, like when do they need to switch to a booster or when do they move out of a booster. And then I have here, it's a next steps form. So it says when their car seat expires, when it was made, how to contact the manufacturer. It tells them what the maxes are, what the next steps are. And lots of parents like that. They can just, put it up on the fridge. It's just quick rundown of their car seats.
Wow, that's super thorough. Like I said, it's very important. Like anything that can happen, I just want to be prepared, you know,
Yeah.
making myself as good to go as I can with my
Yeah.
kiddos.
Like
Uh,
you said, you can't control anything outside of your control, but you can control what you can do in the car. You can make sure your kid's as safe as possible. So even if there's, a moose or a drunk driver, your kid's safe.
yeah, definitely. So I want to ask further about the recall. So have you ever had a situation where you were like, okay, this car seat isn't fitting well, and then you had to bring it to the Chevy and say, hey, this is concerning. Like this car seat isn't fitting well.
I don't really do that aspect of
Okay.
things. I don't interact like really with the vehicle manufacturer. The most I can say is like, this isn't compatible. You need a different car seat if you can. But I
Okay.
really try to, as much as I can, make it work with the vehicle they have. Like, can we get a pool noodle or can we adjust the front seats to make it fit safely? I try to make it work as much as possible, but sometimes it's beyond my control and I have to advise them, yeah, you need to get a different car seat.
Okay.
And then if they have the car seat itself is recalled, then I walk them through like how to remedy it, which a lot of people don't know. If there is a recall, the car seat manufacturer is required to remedy or replace it for you for free.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
So how often, you see more recalls on vehicles than you do on car seats. So how often does a car seat recall happen?
They're probably around the same,
Oh, wow.
but here's the thing is usually with vehicles, it's very severe recalls. So it's something
Mm.
that's very urgent. Whereas we're now seeing, thankfully, lots of car seat recalls. They are usually minor, like they got the wrong sticker on the seats or they got the wrong manual, just small things
Ah, okay.
that they can still be life or death, but they are much lower risk of doing it.
Okay. That makes sense.
We want there to be, less urgent, severe,
Oh,
not
yeah.
like stop using your car seat.
Yeah, I mean, even just having the correct manual, that's
Yes.
so important.
Yes, but like usually manuals and the stickers, you can still view those online for free. They are very good about, making sure parents have access to information.
Perfect. Good. So how did you become certified?
So I am a child passenger safety technician, and that is the official term for it. So I had several miscarriages. I lost 7 children, and after that, I had my miracle baby, and I just really, really wanted to protect that child. And during that time, I was pregnant, I was excited buying all the baby stuff. And I got a JJ Cole bundle me, which I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't think so.
It's a cover that goes behind the child in the car seat, so it's very dangerous to
Ooh,
use.
okay.
I didn't know this at all, and I had a very good military spouse friend at the time. She came over and she's like, you can't use this. This isn't safe. So she started sending me information, everything about car seat safety. She hooked me up with the local CPSC, and then I realized, like, wow, everything I thought I knew was absolutely wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I started reading and learning, and I found my passion in life. Before that, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And then after, I'm just like, I love this.
That's so cool, Shaina. Um, so what kind of training did you do, or was it mainly like self-taught?
So I like to say it's like you do get training, but really the training scratches the surface. So you do a certification course, which there's a lot involved in that. We have to do like hands-on events, we have to do community events, we do testing, we do all sorts of different things. And then after, if you pass, then you are a CPSC. But really, like I said, it just scratches the surface because I mean, after it was just like months and months of I'm just reading about every single car seat imaginable. I'm looking through manuals. I was talking to CPSCs, learning so much.
Wow, okay. So, do you get continued education as a CPSC?
Yes, that's why it is a certification. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, it's not a doctorate, it's not as serious, but that's why we do it as a certification to force you to stay up to date in it.
Hmm.
So you have to take so many continuing education units. You have to be doing so many community events, and you have to do your 5 sign-offs. And all of this is to make sure that we are staying up to date because it is a very, very fast-paced world of things are just constantly rotating out and changing.
Oh yeah, and advancing, like
Yeah.
there's new tricks, there's new accessories. So, what's the biggest myth about or outdated advice that you've heard recently?
Yeah. So for myths, there really is just a lot. I think probably one of the biggest one is like, I'm a parent. I've been doing this, so I'm fine. I don't need a car seat check. I know what I'm doing. I have experience, but a lot of people don't realize it's just like you could have kids, but things have changed. And you may
Mm-hmm.
not know this, or for whatever reason, you weren't aware of this before. And that doesn't make you a bad parent if you didn't know at all. But, things are always changing. And that's why it's good to have a person to help you with this all.
Mm-hmm.
As far as outdated, I think the number one thing I see is the finger test. So,
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
it used to be you tested for tightness by putting a finger underneath the straps, whereas now we changed it to the pinch test.
Okay. Can you demonstrate what the pinch test is?
So with the pinch test, we want no slack anywhere on the harness and not be able to pinch anything anywhere.
Oh,
So if you can
okay.
pinch any slack or if there's any visible loose slack anywhere, I say that because some chest clips do not, the harness doesn't slide through the chest clip easily.
Okay. So I feel like I'm learning so much already because, like, I feel like I know,
Yeah,
but I didn't realize that I didn't know as much as I didn't know.
that's okay.
But so how do you tighten that slack? Because I see that,
Yeah.
when I'm doing the car seat sometimes, and I'm like, well, she's tight by the straps. Is that okay? Like, how do you get all this tightened?
So a good way to do it is to pull up here to get all the slack out of from the hip,
Mm-hmm.
and then pull the chest clip down and help feed it through. Sometimes you have to do one by one,
Okay.
and then you can see it's a little bit tighter, but it already passed the pinch test.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes you need to just from behind, you can access the straps and just help pull it that way. And then as you're pulling up, just move your hand out of the way,
Okay.
if that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. I know I'm probably not the only one that's dealt with that.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted you to be here, and also support what you're doing because this is amazing. Are you the only technician in the valley?
No, I'm not. A lot of times, usually CPSCs, they are doing this unpaid, but they are through another profession, so like a nurse or something, or working at a clinic. And that is just like, oh, well, our clinic offers it, but typically they don't always pay them more. It's just a second free job for them. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I tried to do it this way of just like, there's amazing people who are CPSCs, but we need to find a way to, they aren't just, unpaid for it, find a way to find a middle common ground. And we can still help people and sometimes make money to at least support it, but also, keeping it cost low for the parents and be able to help parents, because really cost is a big factor as to why a lot of CPSCs get out of the business. And it's just like, I love this job. I don't want to get out. I want to keep helping.
For sure. Yes. And that's a great thing. And I appreciate you for that, because money is stressful enough, and then on top of that, a baby. So I appreciate you for that and giving parents that opportunity. But you are so much value. I want you to know.
Yeah.
What you do is great. And so walk us through the reclining position and when you can go further up
In a car
seat. Yeah.
Okay. So really that depends on the brand. They usually will have stipulations as to when they can move to like a more inclined position. So it very much varies depending on the car seat. But yes, especially for little babies and infant seats, having the right recline especially matters.
Okay.
So many of them say like 0 to 3 or up to 20 or 30 pounds. Always read the manual for when you can switch, because it absolutely does matter.
Yeah, definitely. And what's the most current for how long kids can stay rear facing? I know that this is a big one because
highly debated.
Yeah, I mean, because your kids' legs are all scrunched and it's like, can you see out the window? But then I realized my son can see out the window. He's like moose or excavator or truck, and I didn't realize he could see that much. But like that, I'm sure that's very debatable though. Like.
So yes, it's one that's heavily, debated. It's a hot topic, which there's a lot of reasons as to why, but a lot of times there's myths that have been around in our society that prevent people from it, and a lot of people just don't always realize that that's not the case. Like long legs. My kids, their father's 6.5 feet tall. I'm tall. Like we have kids with long legs, and rear facing. We did that. My longest went until age 7.
Wow.
And that was safest. A lot of people don't realize that their legs are significantly safer for when they are rear facing. There's actually never been a documented case of the kids breaking their legs because they were rear facing.
Oh.
But it happens very, very commonly for forward facing kids.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And more than that, we want them rear facing because of spinal ossification. Which I know that sounds very scary, big term.
Yeah. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So spinal ossification, so the cartilage that's in your nose?
Yes.
So before the spine is fully ossified, which means hardened and developed, before that happens, their spine is basically soft cartilage, like similar to the nose.
Wow.
So, as you can imagine, in a crash, it is very high risk for doing damage to the child because they do not have a fully developed spine, and it's very soft, so it's very stretchy. And that can lead to, internal decapitation. It can cause death. It can cause complete paralysis and so many other severe injuries.
Wow.
In addition to that, the spine up here on the neck, where their head connects to the lower part of the spine, the bones there, they are still smaller and not growing, so it has such a capacity to stretch. So it can actually stretch up to 2 inches in a crash, but only takes 1/4 of an inch to cause severe injury or death.
Wow.
Yes, I know. It's like I try to be nice, but it just like it is also with this profession, it is life or death. Like internal decapitation, it's a very high chance of death for kids. And even if they can reattach the head to the spine, it's, several years of physical therapy and doctors and a long, long recovery.
Yeah, I've heard people say, well, they're just so uncomfortable. Is that because you think they're uncomfortable, or are they really uncomfortable?
Yeah, which, I mean, that's nothing wrong against the parents. We all have the opinion through our own lens. We are parents.
For sure.
We, tend to be older. We have bones that, get stiffer and stuff.
Oh, that's true.
We don't.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that's hurting my bones looking at you.
Yeah, but we don't realize that, with kids, it's just like they are very resilient. They're very bendy. Think about how they are all the time outside of the car. my kids are always like hanging upside down in weird positions, things that look painful all the time.
Yes.
But it's just like that's who they are. And whether it looks uncomfortable, that doesn't mean it isn't comfortable. And
Mm-hmm.
for kids that are able to move, they will move.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, some medical cases or very, very tiny babies, they can't, but most of the time they're going to be able to move if they are uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure.
Usually I see with rear facing, like they find their, top two positions and they rotate out and they
Gotcha.
stick with it. They
Yeah.
find it comfortable. So I'm just like, go with it.
Well, this is all good to know. I had no idea about that term that you just said. I'm,
Spinal ossification.
yeah, I don't even know how to say it.
Yes, I know. It sounds big, technical, and it is, a medical term, but
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that because I did not know. So what kind of advice do you have for parents looking for the right car seat? Like, are there situations during checks or recommendations when you're like, not that one for this kid? Or
so yeah, I do personalized seat recommendations with my service as a service with my business. And the reason I do that is because, yes, it gets so complicated and parents are trying to find seats, but just like it gets very complicated.
well, and overwhelming. There's so
Yeah,
many
very
options.
overwhelming. Like you have to look at what type of headrest you have because some brands are like, oh, well, if there's going to be any gap whatsoever between the vehicle seat and the car seat, no, it's going to be incompatible.
Mm,
And then for infant seats, you have to look at load legs. Do they allow a load leg or is it unsafe to use a load leg? And some allow in certain positions, but not others. You have to take into mind like front to back space for a rear facing kid. And then also look at, what the car seat rules are because some will say they have to be touching the vehicle seat in front of them. Some say, up to 2.5 inches. It varies. It gets
okay.
very complicated. I know that's probably overwhelming.
Well, just, yeah, like looking at all the options, my goodness, pre-Google would have been maybe a little more simpler, but, like Google gives you so many options, Amazon, and then you're asking friends for advice, and it's just like, okay, well, I've got
Yeah.
between 3 options that I like.
And even with that, it's just like Google, honestly, like they don't know. Usually it's AI, so sometimes they're incorrect. And usually it's just like we see trends with car seats. So, like right now, Nuna is very big, so it's getting recommended a lot. So, it's probably one that you probably had mentioned from friends because that's what was recommended to them. And it just becomes like a cycle, which talking to CPST, we know all the seats on the market, so we can find an option that may work better for you.
Gotcha.
And usually it's not like, okay, only one seat is the best option. Usually there's several options and parents get to choose.
Gotcha. Well,
But there's lots of things that can cause, incompatibilities. And sometimes it gets more complicated than that. Like we have to look at the parents, like, are they going to be able to use the seats? If there's a grandma with arthritis, she needs an easy to install seats or any other handicaps or issues. And then we also have to look at, the parents. My husband's very tall. We have to look at, front space, the space in the front seat for him.
sure.
And also just like we see a lot with rotating seats of parents not locking them in and we need a seat that they're going to use correctly every single time.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, it sounds like.
Yes. And that's why I started offering this, which a lot of parents are just like, oh, but like, I have to this, and this. I could just decide for myself. It's like, yeah, absolutely, you can. But a lot of parents like it because it makes it their job a lot easier.
For sure. So, what about like advice for parents that have say 2 kids, um, and then a third one comes along and there's just that one back seat of the
Yeah.
car? Like, what do you advise in those situations? Are there certain brands that have like 2 toddler seats and then an infant car seat that go well together in a seat arrangement like that?
It very much depends on the vehicle you have, and usually it's not just like, okay, one across for all 3 kids, or just even one brand. So with that, yeah, there's a lot of factors to look at. Some do not like overhang, like in their space overhanging. They do not allow that. So it gets very tricky of just trying to find it lining up, because doing three across, make sure they're independently tight, which means if that seat wasn't there, would it still, pass the inch test and everything.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So there's
so,
some factors that need to be taken into consideration.
yes, definitely.
And so what do you ask parents to bring with them to a car seat check?
Obviously the kid, if you can.
Hmm.
Sometimes they don't, and that is okay. We just do the best we can. Ideally, I want the car seat to be already installed in the seat, so that way, I can see
Ah,
anything, like if they are very prone for this issue, that we can discuss it.
okay.
After that, just, make sure they ideally have the manuals for the vehicle and the car seat, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Okay.
There's not a whole lot that's like necessary, and really we get lots of just, trying to make it work if they don't, and that's okay.
Yeah, okay. And so also, can we talk a little bit about how you handle like bulky winter coats? I mean, it's cold outside
It's
and
Alaska.
yeah, it's Alaska. This
Yeah.
winter was freezing. Um the winter that my son was born, 2024, like there was no snow in January, and I'm like, "Whoa, this is weird."
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
that's not normal, people. I'm guilty of this sometimes. Like I don't want to take on and off a jacket if I have to go to
Yeah.
from this store to this store to this store, have so many errands to run. I may have had some times where I didn't take his jacket off, or maybe he had a sweatshirt on instead, and but can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah.
And I feel so bad saying that, but
Oh,
I
you're
want to be,
learning.
yeah, I'm
That's
learning.
good. We want parents who are learning and open to advice. That is great. And that makes you a good mom. So fur coats, really, it depends on the age. So like in an infant seat like this, there's different things that we would advise than, an older child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this style, because it has a handle, you can do what's called a shower cap style, so it just goes over the car seats. Those
Oh.
type of covers, they're safe because they
Mhm.
do not interfere with the harness at all.
And I didn't realize how warm they stay in those insulated car seat covers.
Which gets concerning because there is also like a take it off as soon as you can so it doesn't,
Yeah.
restrict oxygen to baby. But they're an option. Generally speaking, like if it goes underneath or behind the baby, or if it touches the straps anyway, like if it reroutes the straps, it's not going to be safe.
Okay.
Another good option that I really like, one that I use with my own kids, was a car seat poncho. So it's called a car seat poncho, but it's just a regular poncho that's thick.
Okay.
Just pull up the back of it, and then they can get in the seat. Then you'd pull up the front, you would buckle the harness, and then just it goes over the harness.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't interfere in any way with the harness, which is what we want.
Definitely.
And then you could just, unbuckle and wear it outside of the car. There are some options, which I always share on my page every winter, as just some safe options that are CPSC approved because they're not going to cause ejection or anything. But yes, snowsuits, any heavy coats or layers, we do not want.
Okay.
And really, it's just like if they're doing, quick in and out, their kids are generally going to be fine unless they're, immune compromised or health conditions. Just a quick 10 seconds out in the cold is generally going to be okay for them.
Okay. And do you have any statistics of improperly used seats or a memorable, like this car seat saved a child?
So with statistics, like there's obviously some bias because it's like we know, according to our statistics, 4 out of 5 car seats aren't used correctly, but that's only according to the minimums, not necessarily the maximums. Like, okay, it's legal for a 1-year-old to be forward facing, but that doesn't mean it's best practice. So
Mm.
there's bias with that. There's also a lot of our numbers come from the parents who do come to get their car seat checked, which there's debate on what parents are. Are they the ones who are less likely to be making errors in the car seat? Or in my own experience, for 100% perfect use, I have only ever seen one perfectly used car seat in
Oh.
the 12 years I've had CPSC.
Like, is it just the car seat? Or
It's car seat install everything.
oh wow.
Yeah, which I mean, there's some lenient factors of just like, okay, this is parental choice. Those I don't include at all, but just like 100% perfect,
Wow.
correctly installed. Yeah, I've only ever seen one.
Oh
I was shocked whenever I did because I was like, I feel like I'm missing something.
wow. Yeah, you
Yeah.
start second guessing yourself.
I did. I was just like, I feel like something's wrong. Am I missing something? I just like was going over. I was like, no, actually, everything's right here.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations to that parent.
It was a local person. They were on J-Bear.
Oh,
I don't know
awesome.
if they're
Good
still
for
here because
them.
they're military, but
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
was my only experience with a perfectly installed car seat. But yes, there's a bunch of different numbers. Some say up to like 98, 90% using correctly, sometimes 4 out of 5. Like we don't 100% know.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So are there any Alaska state laws for car seats?
No, so laws generally are governed by state levels.
Hmm.
So it's just the state decides what they want to. And I know that's a subject that I very much get frustrated by because some state laws have never been updated at all. Some are,
Oh.
several decades old. They
Yeah.
are very slow to change, but usually that's the information the parents are getting the most.
Okay.
So it just what is safest isn't necessarily what's best because they are very behind expert recommendations usually.
Okay. Gotcha. And do you have any advice for grandparents, caregivers? For example, my mother, she watches my children, and so she'll ask me for the car seats, and I'll put the base in her car, and put my son's car seat in her car, and then that's it. Like, what do you have to say about that? Is that okay, or do you recommend a different car seat according to what her that grandparent or caregiver is?
So with the car seat itself, sometimes I would advise a different vehicle a different car seat depending on the car seat that they have. Some are, very difficult to use. So I'd be like, yeah, I think an easier one would be better.
Okay.
Or like I would also look at if there is incompatibility with the vehicle, which hopefully not. But yeah, my general advice would be they can still talk to CPSCs. Some may are like, oh, I'm not the parent, so I don't know if I can. Like, talk to us. We will help you and we will help like give you tips to make it easier.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just like I really am on parents' side and grandparents' side. I love working with them. I want to, make it easier for them.
Yes,
Yes.
for sure.
There's so much of just like, oh, this is hard. It's difficult. It's just like, let me help you.
Yeah, definitely.
I know so many tricks that can make things easier. Like, work smarter, not harder.
Oh my gosh, yes, for sure. And especially when it comes to, watching children, like you need whatever is easier.
It's like you've got multiple car seats to install. Like, learn how to get it done faster.
For sure. Um, And with the emerging new car seats and technology that's coming out, like how often do your classes happen? Like it feels like it's quite a bit was coming out. New Gracos, new new
So,
Chicos.
yeah. So typically, car seat manufacturers, like once a year, they do a product update for CPSTs, and everything's voluntary on which ones we want to take, which, we want to participate in. And sometimes it's just according to schedule. Like, a lot of them are according to Eastern time. So sometimes it's just like, I cannot make the CEU because it's just going to be like 5 or 6 a.m. my time.
Yeah. Ooh.
So I do everyone that I am available to do, but sometimes I do miss them. But generally speaking, they once a year do a product update. Like, this is going to be going soon. This is what we're looking at. This is what we're looking at for the future. And other than that, there are dozens usually a year of CEUs, like
Okay.
not just specific to like Gracos or Up a Baby, but talking general things of just like, let's talk airbag safety. Let's talk booster basics, and let's talk, different testing that's coming out.
Mm.
Just, learning and learning. There's so much. It's very fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
I've already learned so much here.
Yeah, you say technology, and just like there's sometimes I just have to remember like what there is currently, but also just like separate that from, things that they are working on for the future, which is exciting.
Okay, so say my car seat expires in 2027 and they're already rolling out with new updates for a new car seat. But you have to think about this car seat that's going to be expiring in 2027 though too, and we've got one more year. So you kind of almost have your knowledge in two different models.
I think you're asking like, so if the seat's expiring, but it's not quite yet, and if you are looking to have another baby, should you upgrade
Yes.
to one with different features, or stay with the one that you have? For that, I would say it depends really on what you want. I mean, you're the parent, you're in charge. If you want a new seat, get a new seat. But really, we talk safety, but really with car seats, it's a pass or fail system. This is sold on the market. It passes the federally mandated minimums for safety. And it's a pass or fail system, so we don't know what's safest or what's best.
Okay.
So some features, definitely, they do increase safety for certain things, like the Bluetooth chest clips. They help prevent hot car deaths.
Wow.
But
I've never heard of that.
Yes, but then sometimes car seats features, they can also be very confusing for parents, and they increase misuse.
A Bluetooth.
Yes.
What was it?
It's the chest clip here is Bluetooth, so it has like a battery in it, and it is a Bluetooth to your phone, to an app on it, and alerts you once the car stops moving. It's been done moving for a few minutes, and the chest clip hasn't became undone, so you can pull the child out.
Wow, I have not heard about that yet.
Yes, there are several seats on the market that do. Cybex, Evenflow, there's a few of them that do. And the whole goal is to prevent hot car deaths. Yeah, there's a lot of technology out, like rotating seats, Bluetooth chest clips, lots of things.
That is so cool. Okay. Well, that's a pretty neat feature and comes in handy.
Yeah. Well, the main goal is hot car deaths, which which vehicular heat stroke can still happen here in Alaska.
True.
I did tests on it of just like it was 55 degrees and it still got over 100 degrees in my kids' car seats in the car.
Oh, wow.
I tested it out and it can still happen here.
Oh man. Yeah. And on your Facebook page, I saw a recent post about mirrors. Can you explain that post? Do you recall which one?
Yes, okay. I do. So the question was, are mirrors safe or not? And a lot of it is I've been talking lately about aftermarket products, and it just in general, like we can't say definitively they are safe or unsafe. And some like mirrors, they have, sometimes they're safe and sometimes they aren't. Things like inserts or the strap covers or the pillows and stuff that you add to the car seat, those are going to be unsafe. The mirrors, they can be mixed. For an anxious parent, being able to see their child, that can reassure them.
Oh, yeah.
And that can help, they are calmer, they are driving safer, which can keep the child safer. Sometimes, like if there's a parent who just wants to look nonstop at the child, like that can be very distracting.
Yeah.
And that can be unsafe. I talk about it in my book, using mirrors for if they are unbuckling.
Okay.
Because we want them to be rear facing as long as possible. So that is an option that like I would recommend to someone over turning forward facing. There are risks with it because, it's not going to be secure to the headrest. So it can, still do harm to the child when it becomes a projectile.
Okay.
And we have seen car fires start from them.
Oh, wow.
Which, again, there's ways to mitigate risk, and there are options that are safer than others. But it's not That's one that there's, not a definitive, oh, it's unsafe or it's safe.
Okay.
Some situations it's unsafe, some situations I would strongly recommend it to parents.
Yes, for sure. I'm one of those anxious ones that has to not look back all the time, but if I hear a certain noise or if he's singing or something like that and I want to join in, I look back at him a little bit while I'm singing or something.
Yeah, and sometimes it can help a kid too, like, okay, I feel safer.
Yeah, my mom's here. She can hear me and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So, also like is there any should there be concern with kids having like food and toys in their car seats?
Definitely. So it was 2013, so that was the year that my oldest child was born. There was a severe case of they had just a normal soft top sippy cup,
Mm-hmm.
and the toddler ended up with over 200 stitches and a severe concussion, yes, from just the sippy cup.
Wow.
So, yes, I plan to do a series on my page discussing that because there are lots of things you can do to, help mitigate it. And
Mm-hmm.
no one ever is going to be 100% perfect, but really we want to try and keep anything loose in the car contained as much as possible.
Sure.
Because, yes, tablets, they are hard. They can hurt the
Mm-hmm.
baby.
Oh yeah, especially when you have two.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
yeah, we've joked about it in the CPST world of just like imagine if you would throw it at your child as hard as possible. Like, we do not want child violence at all. We don't want you to actually do that, but just imagine. And if you wouldn't feel comfortable with that, it's probably not going to be safe
yeah.
because generally speaking, it's the item's weight times speed. So if something weighs like 5 pounds in a 10-pound crash, it's going to be roughly, depending on different circumstances and everything, 50 pounds.
Mm,
So
gotcha.
like that adds up quickly.
Yeah, it does. Um, and a lot of our listeners might be like say they might have a remote cabin. Like we have a friend that has a cabin um off Montana Creek Road quite a ways and we use the side by side quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so and even people traveling with a motorhome, I mean, people go from here to Seward or here to Fairbanks or Valdez, wherever. Like what are your recommendations for car seats in side by sides or motorhomes, if any?
So I have talked about this on my page before, and really it just there's a good, better, best, but also like there's certain things that just like I cannot recommend. Like car
Mm-hmm.
seat manufacturers do not say car seats can go on a side by side. So I cannot recommend it in any way, shape, or form. It's really untested. We don't know if it could make it better, we could make it worse. We don't have that information.
Okay.
So and with the side by side, I would say talk to the car seat manufacturer, see what they advise, and really just try to do risk assessment and try to make it as safe as possible if you are going to. Like try and limit how much you do, try to do lower speeds, making sure, good visibility, making sure, it's on a safe trail and not like, regular vehicles around because often high speeds, a big vehicle or other vehicles around, that causes a lot of deaths on side by sides.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
RVs, really, that's also a good, better, best. Really,
Mm-hmm.
ideally in a class A, that's the one where it's the all in one, where it's just like the two seats up front and then the whole vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely no safe way to install a car seat on that. And really,
True.
we do not want that because those vehicles, there's just tons of projectiles which can hurt the child.
Mm-hmm.
And just they don't hold up in a crash very well.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
the best option is to just transport the child in a completely separate vehicle, but lots of people that's not an option for various reasons. So a fifth wheel or a pull behind camper, those would be safer.
Mm-hmm.
And then just have them in the vehicle and then pulling along the camper.
Gotcha. Okay.
So really, it's just like try to make kids as safe as possible in every situation.
Totally.
Even if it can't be 100%, any little thing matters.
I agree. I agree. And I appreciate you for sharing that. And where can listeners find your page? Like, what is your page called?
It's called Wild Alaskan Child Safety Lady LLC, and I am on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Facebook is usually my bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to be the most popular.
Yes, I stay up to date on your stuff.
Yeah, it tends to be the one I use the most because it tends to be the biggest platform.
Okay, do you have a website at all, or is it just the social
I'm
media?
working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also have my book is up on Gumroad.
Oh,
And
Sammy the Safety Ranger.
yeah.
I love that.
So my kid, my oldest, is special needs. So I had the issue when my child was a toddler of unbuckling the car seat like many parents do. And it's just
yeah.
like we hear like a few tips, but parents usually often don't know what to do.
Mm.
And I was even a CPST and I was just like, I'm not sure.
Did you come up with a solution or?
Yes, I
Yeah.
come up with a solution, and some of the things I did with my kids are in there.
Oh,
But
okay.
then I just like started deep diving of just like, more and more ideas. And I really think the idea started forming like a decade ago of this book of just like a guidebook for parents of just like how to help them.
That's awesome. I love
Which
that.
I'm very excited about. So there's like a kids book in it for the kids to make it exciting. And the whole idea is, excite them to be like Sammy, the safety ranger, and they get to become a safety ranger themselves.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's a program. It's a family guidebook of just like helping them want to stay buckled.
That's
It has
awesome.
like a tracker for if they do, and then they win a little certificate if they do.
Oh,
My goal
fun.
is to down the road have like a little pin or patch they can get if they become the safety ranger.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, and there's lots of affirmations for parents in it too, and it breaks down like, okay, what's the root cause? Why are they doing it? Like, is it a sensory issue? Is it they like the challenge of it? And just like depending on what the reason is, just help break down how to fix it depending on what the reason is.
Okay.
Because if it's just like if they like the challenge, then if you're trying to fix the sensory side, that's not going to do anything.
Sure.
You got to get to why they are and work on that.
Gotcha. And so is this program that you're creating, is it available today or? Okay.
Yeah, it's available online for purchase now, and it's just the one book right now. But my goal is to make a bunch of guidebooks for all common parenting problems.
Oh, cool.
So, how to help with a kid who doesn't want to get in the car at all, or after they've been in a crash and they're scared to get in the car.
Oh man, that is totally me. I mean, I was in a car accident, sheesh, in 2007, and man, that trauma, it lasts forever, and I don't know, might even the rest of my life, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's traumatizing, and
especially for a young kid, they don't fully understand it.
yeah, I can't even imagine for a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is awesome, Shaina. I am so glad that you have that and you're developing more.
Yes, my goal is to just a bunch of different guidebooks for different problems. Like, okay, you're getting ready to move out of a 5-point harness into a booster. Here's a program for your family for how to booster train and when to move.
That is so cool. Awesome.
A
Well,
bunch of different ones, just like instead of just quick advice online, just like, okay, here's a literal guide to hold your hand and help you.
that's awesome.
That's my goal.
Well, I fully support you here. And I love your shirt, CPST Bestie. Noun, car and booster seat expert, your child restraint translator, a second advocate for your child, all around safety friend, here to make your life easier. Alaska owned and operated. That is amazing.
I just started saying that term, CPSC bestie, on videos, and it kind of stuck. And it just like, I really like that idea of just like, I'm here to help you, but also keep your kids safe. And
yeah,
just kind of, I don't know, became my thing.
no, I love it. It's awesome.
It's really, that's who I want to be. It's like, I'm here advocating for the kids. I want the best for the kids, but I also want to work with the parents to make their lives easier. And just, I'll make Alaskan roadways safer for kids. We have so many unnecessary deaths, and we can really change that.
For sure. Yes, and doing our part.
Yeah.
So, how can busy parents make car safety a habit instead of make it feel overwhelming? Because I know that that's something that happens to me. Like I'm like, oh, is it tight enough? Is it tight enough? Like,
Yeah.
I it just scares me.
Yeah. I love that question because that is very good. I think first off, I think it starts outside of the car. I think so much we hear negative about car seat safety and just like, reaffirming outside of the car seat, just like you can do this. It's not too much. Oh, and
Hmm.
verifying, if the things you are hearing and believing, are they myths or not? But in general, like when you're busy, like if you feel overwhelmed, just take it one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Like there's a million things to do right, but if you're just like, okay, I'm going to focus on getting this one thing right, like at least it's a
Mm.
step in the right direction.
Yes.
And just you can build on that. And a lot of times too, I think just reaffirming to yourself that just like their safety matter is the most important thing.
Hmm.
So it's just like slow down. It's okay if you're going to be a few minutes late. Your kids matter. They are the number one and most important thing. So it's okay to just slow down and just like, okay, I'm just gonna, even if I'm a couple minutes late, my kids are going to be safe.
For
If
sure.
that makes sense.
Yes, yes. And I love how much passion you have for this for car seat safety, as well as compassion for the parents because we're all learning.
Yeah, no
We're all
one's perfect.
learning.
I have made so many mistakes in my past. I've shared on my Facebook page. I was a teenager. I did the child development class, and we had the robot babies, and I had it in the car seat, and I put the car seat on top of the shopping cart.
Oh,
I hit something, which that is not safe to do. It went flying.
oh, gee.
Yeah. Which thankfully it was not a real baby. It just hurt my grade, which I am so, so grateful for. But just like I have seen so many injuries and deaths from it.
Oh
And just,
man.
yeah, that's a thing that just I didn't know. And I always tell parents, I'm just like, it's okay for not perfect. I wasn't in the beginning either.
Yeah,
But everyone can get there if they want to.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, just take it one step at a time.
Yeah. If you're trying, that makes you the best parent.
Yes, definitely. And do you have any interesting stories or funny stories as far as like car seat checks go? Because I mean, they can't always be like you said, you've only had one 100%
Yeah.
perfect check. So, anything interesting happen at any of your checks?
Yeah, so everyone's different, of course. There's no car seat check that looks exactly like the other. I've had some fun ones, kids throwing toys at me. But the most memorable ones, I think, were my very first one. I was at a community C-check event, which is the last part of your training that we have to do. The mom showed up. She was like, oh, yeah, I'm pregnant. I'm doing any day now. And then her water broke.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Perfect timing. I mean, you're there and the car seat's there.
Yeah. So with that, we were at a fire station. So it's just like, it's not the
Oh.
worst place to be to go into labor.
No.
Like, it's definitely
Wow.
not the worst, but we were a couple miles from the hospital. But I was just like, I can't say you can't drive, but at the same time, like, do you want me to call your husband? Go safely.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I have to go over all these things, but I know I've been in labor before. I know you're not hearing anything. I'm just writing it all down for you to read later because you're not hearing any of this, and I get it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was just like, I have to say this because, I'm required to, but
That is hilarious. Is there anything else that you've
so
experienced?
like I said, most of them are pretty calm. My most crazy, I think, was I say at gunpoint. It wasn't exactly at gunpoint, like, oh, you need to, get my kid's car seat installed correctly or you die. It wasn't anything like that. But I was in a car seat check for a mom. There was a whole domestic dispute going on. He did not want the baby at all. He was determined that he was not going to be a father. He wasn't going to pay child support. So he shows up with a gun with the intent to kill her
Oh
and the
gosh.
baby.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of a car seat check and a guy shows up with a gun.
Oh my.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was pretty short-lived because it was right across the street from the courthouse. So it was not long after that. I'm just like trying to calm him down and keep everything, and then
Yeah.
I see police coming out. So I was like, okay, good.
Oh man, those two situations were almost in the perfect places, like
Yes.
fire station,
Happened to be.
courthouse with police.
Yeah. Well, it just like they were coming out because they had to testify or something.
Yeah.
They wasn't like actually in front of a police station, but they were nearby and then they just happened to see and clock it. They were paying attention, thankfully, and looked up.
Oh, that's
So
crazy.
it was short-lived,
Oh.
thankfully, and the mom is okay, the baby's okay,
Oh,
which
good.
is perfect.
Yes, for
But it
sure.
was definitely my most wild because I was just like, you don't expect, when going and installing a car seat for helping people install a car seat that they're gonna, anything like a gun involved.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never have thought of that. But
So that's definitely my most wild, but otherwise, beyond that, it's pretty calm and tame. There'll be like a kid, throwing something at me or they want to play. I've done like reading books to kids or playing with
aw,
them. So,
that's awesome. Okay. And like what is the accreditation program that you go through? Is it nationwide?
so yes, it is in the US at least, it is a nationwide program. So that's what was really great for me in the military is like we moved all over. I could anywhere in the country, which I
Mhm.
still have people all over the country that I still work with even now. Like we were together at the time, but they love me, so they still come back to me for help,
Aw,
even, a decade later. And we are in completely different states.
that is so cool, Shayna.
So here in America, it's nationally, it's all over the nation. Outside of that, and that is through Safe Kids. I forgot to say it's a
Safe
Safe Kids,
Kids.
yeah, Safe Kids organization, and they draw stuff from NHTSA, from a bunch of other things for the training. Outside of that, it varies. In Canada, it's Child Restraint Safety Technician, so it's a different name, and they have a much different way to go about it.
Mhm.
I've been looking into getting into that, but it varies depending on the nation, but generally it's a nationwide thing.
Okay, sounds good. So I have a question do I don't know if you know any of this, but is there a difference between the car seat regulations for the United States and than it is for like Europe, or do you have a little bit of knowledge of that?
Yes, I do. So yeah, I've worked with parents across different countries and all over the world. So yes, in the U.S. it's FMVSS 213. That is the regulations in regards to car seats here in the
Mhm.
U.S. And that they have their regulations here set to keep the kids safe. Outside of that, there is a different one. So Asia, they have a general one. There is Australia and New Zealand. They have their own regulations.
Mhm.
I recently posted, they actually have regulations about car seat aftermarket products, where they're one of
Okay.
the few in the world. There is Europe. And so, yes, it depends on where you are. And even with that, like, I know we were military, you need to have the same country's vehicle and also the same country's car seat. So, like, for military, if you have like a Chinese car, but you have a American car seat, that can cause incompatibilities.
Ah, makes sense.
So you need to, line those up. So we obviously went through Canada's, but
Mhm.
if you have an American car and American car seats, then you are good.
Yeah, that's interesting because even being in Alaska, like there's different things like say for example, like studded tires.
Yeah.
Um, I had a friend in a gym class. She was military and she was from Florida. She had no idea about studded tires
Yeah.
and she got rear-ended somebody and she was like, if somebody just told me about studded tires and
She didn't know. Yeah.
yeah, so just knowing the differences between state to state. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the regulations are
Even
similar, but might be different according to state, but like safety. I mean,
Even in the same state, it can vary. Like you said, military. We were military too. There are state laws, but there also are installation laws in regards to child passenger safety.
oh, wow.
So yes, you have to also be in accordance to both of those.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually another
like-
funny story.
It's like two different worlds.
Yeah, that actually is another interesting story I had is my first installation. They were doing the military police were doing some illegal activity, telling people they couldn't do extended rear facing.
Oh.
And parents were telling me, they're like, what can I do? So I got involved and ended up getting them all in trouble.
Oh, boy.
Because I was just like, hi, there are laws here, both the states and the installation laws, do not say you can in any way, shape, or form, impose your opinions on parents to extend rear facing. It is perfectly safe. You need to, not get involved.
Okay, wow.
But they were turning parents away at the gates, and they even did that to me some too. And I'm just like, hi, I am actually, an expert in this. You cannot be doing that.
Here's my card.
Yeah, so I talked to a few other CPSTs, and we ended up, they did a little, Saturday training course on what they could and couldn't do.
Oh, wow.
And we ended up changing things, so they stopped doing that on the installation.
Oh, wow.
Which is good because that impacted, tons of people.
It did. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In regards to laws, too, that's another point is just like, yeah, they vary even within the same states and, state to states. Like, that's why you should, be talking to an expert rather than, just the laws because the physics don't change whether you get on base or whether you cross state lines. Like, it's going to be the same. So that's why you should, be talking to a person. Yeah. Yeah. And with all things, like we want to talk extended rear facing. We want to also, if we can, have them in the 5-point harness as long as possible, forward facing. And paying attention to things like how to booster train, when to move out into a booster and when to move out of the booster.
Wow.
Not just what the law allows, but also what is going to be safest.
For sure. Yeah, good to consider. And so what is some advice that you would give parents on the next time they drive?
My big advice is really just talk to CPST. Any and all questions you have, just come to us for help. So many people are like, oh, well, just a little thing, or, just come to us. Even if you aren't sure if you need to, just come to us. We can help. Even if it's perfect, like, hey, you get a pat on the back.
For sure.
Yeah, I plan to make it with my car seat checks. I do free ones through different organizations in the community, but otherwise parents pay for it. And I plan to start changing to doing a reward system of just like if a parent has a perfectly installed car seat, like, hey, it's free.
Awesome.
Just like I want to see a second one. I want to see a third one perfectly installed. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and kudos to those parents because they need to know that they're doing well and be encouraged too. So yeah, I think that's awesome. So what I also want to leave by asking where is your favorite place in Alaska to visit? Like, do you and your family go on road trips?
I don't know if I have a favorite place. I'm very indecisive, so it's hard to say. Probably Hatcher's Pass would be one of my favorites. I also love going to like Seward. I love going to the Sea Life Center and just like the animals. I'm like, that was my dream. As a kid. I wanted to like be a marine biologist.
Oh yeah, I had a time that I wanted to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I love that. Hatcher's Pass. Those are two of my good ones. In Girdwood, what's it called? Virgin Falls.
Oh yes.
That is just gorgeous.
It's a beautiful, like, short hike. Very short.
Really just driving down the Seward Highway. I'm just like, I love it.
It's
so
beautiful.
It's mountains on one side, ocean on the other.
Yeah.
It's just like dream.
Can't go wrong with that Seward Highway.
Yeah.
Just drive safe. All right. Well, thank you so much, Shaina. This has been awesome. And yeah, everybody just reach out to Shaina on her Facebook page. I'll tag her on the video. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.